Central Minnesota Sports Hub. It's the Morning Sports Desk, presented by Wadena's Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade. Available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts, and streaming on YouTube.
It is the Morning Sports Desk on a Monday, the 24th of March. I'm CJ Baumgartner. That's Corey Tackman. This is the Morning Sports Desk, powered by Pizza Ranch, FunZone, Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena.
Here we go.
Corey, this is our first post-winter sports episode. My goodness, the state tournament was over the week. And before we talk about the state tournament, I do just kind of want to put a bow on some things and wrap everything up. So, Corey, we started the broadcast season technically in like November, late November. Well, probably it was December. It doesn't really matter. But starting back in that spot, we broadcasted 56 games over the winter sports season, which included state wrestling, state boys basketball, the first ever, like of all time, broadcast of the Minnesota State Unified Basketball Tournament. We had a state champion in wrestling as a team. We had two boys basketball teams finish in the top 5 in Class A. We got some girls basketball, boys hockey stuff that we sprinkled in throughout the year. Just another great winter sports broadcasting season to give ourselves a pat on the back here. We covered everywhere. Corey, we sent you alone from Moorhead to Duluth and pretty much everywhere in between. Gone up to Park Rapids, down to Minnewaska. I mean, just all of these places, down to the Twin Cities. I mean, really, with the state tournament games. And we've just heard so much great feedback from you guys on the broadcast, and we really do appreciate making these games happen. But while we're kind of getting some thank yous out of the way, Corey, want to thank you and Zeke and Kyle, Dan Lawson, Jamie Pettit, Scott Woods, and a whole bunch more for the excellent broadcasts all season long. Tammy's our lead board op, and she put in a lot of hours, especially during state wrestling. Jen and Eric, our traffic people, kind of behind the scenes. Our sales staff did a great job behind the scenes. Our social media, web content person, Kayla, for helping update our broadcast schedules online. And pretty much, Corey, anyone else who I'm inevitably missing. But again, 56 broadcasts over like a 3-month span. 3.5, 4-month span. It was a pretty fun time for us here at Hubbard Radio-Wadena covering that winter sports season. And before we get to the state tournament and wrap it up, I want to know, what's like your top moment from this broadcasting season? Was it the unified coverage?
Well, what's fun is when to look back on the season, and you always look back on the season from your most recent point of reference, right? And our most recent point of reference is pretty high leverage section basketball, state basketball, right? Those are at least as far as the order, chronologically speaking, the last things that we are doing here in this building it comes from high quality, high level basketball. And to just once again know that like all season long, you were covering teams who are going to end up in that portion of the year, going to end up at state basketball. You saw Henning play 3 times in the state boys basketball tournament, and like I got to cover them 3 times during the regular season. That's really important and really, from my perspective, to look back on that, really fun. Like I got to see different parts of the year, that team's growth and preparation for what would be a state tournament run. So I always really appreciate moments like that. When you put the bow on from this really like sugar-coated perspective at the end of the year, when there is state tournament coverage that you most recently did, I just think it's fun to be a part of that all season long. And I it's my favorite part of the job. And I know it's your favorite part of the job to be able to do these sorts of things and go see games. I love high school sports. I, in particular, only ever grew up in a small town and pretty much have only ever lived in small towns. So not only is it high school sports, but it's small town sports that I appreciate and love. So from that side of things, CJ, there's never really one like specific, oh, that's cool, I got to do, because it's all really important to me. And I just consider myself to be grateful to be a part of it. That being said, Yeah, of course. Are you kidding me? The first ever radio broadcast from the Unified Special Olympics State Basketball Tournament. That is a highlight for me personally, professionally, not only professionally for what we're doing in the building, but for what's happening in this entire company, and for what's happening with Special Olympics and what they do around locally in these schools and statewide, and not like, to be the first ever at that is like feather in the cap kind of stuff. I'm so happy we were able to do that.
Yeah, it was just so awesome to get to be a part of that. And like you said, recency bias kind of takes hold, but there was a lot of great moments throughout the regular season that I got to be a part of, witnessing some players hit their 1,000-point scoring marks throughout the season. For Wadena Deer Creek, I covered Kobe Snyder getting his 1,000th career point, and then also covered Addie Gravel getting her 1,000th. And by the way, also Kobe Snyder making, I believe, the All-State team for Wadena Deer Creek boys basketball. So that was really cool. And just, yeah, I mean, there's a whole bunch of different broadcasts throughout the year that were fun, but I mean, it has to be covering Henning down at the state tournament for me, has to be on top of that from our Hubbard Radio-Wadena perspective, because, you know, as those of you who know me know, I have family members on that Henning boys basketball team. So to get to cover that and to get to be a part of that and to just this very unique journey with them was really, really cool. And I mean, just from the calling games perspective, 3 really fun games. They fell to Nevis in the quarterfinal round. Then in the semifinal round, played a really nice game against Bold and were able to hang on and win that one. And then took on a Heritage Christian squad and were able to beat them to claim 5th place at the state tournament. And in that 5th place game, there was a buzzer beater at halftime where Kale Misagatis, midway between the top of the key and the Concordia logo at midcourt from the Gangelhoff Center, heaved up a 3-point shot, and then it banked in. And just the call and getting to call that and just the momentum, it was really fun, like to the point where I'm later today going to go back and listen to that because I want to hear how that sounds, because in my head, I thought it was awesome, and then I'm going to hear myself stumble, and then I'm going to immediately hate the call, but that's fine. In my head, I'm going to romanticize it a little bit, so that was great. But out of all that, the cherry on top of the winter sports season moment was a game that we didn't do on our Hubbard Radio-Wadena stations, but it was on our Hubbard stations in Alexandria on Cool 94.3. I get to cover 2 of the 3 games Alexandria area did at the state boys basketball tournament, and they were state champions for the first time ever in boys basketball. They won the 3A title, defeating their not nemesis, but recent rival in Mankato East to take the victory and to go on and win. And Chase Thompson had like 28 points in that game. So he's going to go off to Clemson next year, but he gets to leave Alexandria a champion. The Witt cousins had great games. There's just a few others that put in some great moments as well. It was really, really cool. I know you've called the state championship game before, Corey, and I mean, it's just a whole nother level to get to call that game, right?
There's an atmosphere that exists when you're there for the quarterfinal games, right? And everybody's in the arena, and there is, it's kind of like this pure, it's just a pure puppy dog joy. Like,
we're just happy to be here.
How cool is this? We're in the Target Center. We're in Williams Arena. Wherever these games are played, and you look around and you're like, we wanted to be here so badly, and I cannot believe we're here. This is so awesome. But then the championship game happens, if you can get to that championship game, of course. And now it is like, I don't know. Here's the example I would give. My middle child is getting ready for kindergarten, and we had kindergarten roundup, and it was set to start at whatever time. And like 90 minutes before we even needed to leave, he appeared in the living room and said, "I just am so excited. Can we go now?" And when we told him no, he collapsed on the floor and threw a big giant fit. That's the sort of like pent up energy that exists at any moment in a state championship. Like just leading up to the opening tip-off, you feel like at any moment, if you bumped into somebody accidentally, like you could probably punch somebody in the back of the head and they would turn around, and if you were like, meh, sorry, they'd be like, it's okay, we're playing for a state. There's just so much, it's just bottled up and it's so tight. And then, as you know, when it becomes evident that the game is going your way and that final horn is going to sound and those blue ribbons are going around your neck, or they're going around your kid's neck or your grandson's neck or your nephew's or your best friend, whatever it is, there is this like release in the arena of jubilation, but also that exhale of anxiety. The anxiety is gone. The second that happens, it's the best.
It's the best. It's great. It's awesome. It's super, super fun. And I think this is one last note to say about the state tournament, because there's one more thing too, I should say, but I'll get to that in a second here. State championship games belong at the barn. I think, is that fair? Like, they belong at the barn. I've watched state championship games at Target Center. I haven't been there live, and I know you have, so maybe I'm being a little over dramatic here. Target Center is not a bad venue. It's a great venue for the state tournament. It's an NBA arena. It's perfect to host everything. There is a nice environment there when people sit in the lower bowl. It does get loud. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying this to trash the Target Center, but Williams Arena is just perfect for the state championship Saturday. It just is. The arena is smaller, which means that it gets louder. The building itself, I mean, just everything is smaller. It's a little more intimate. You are right on the floor with all these players. When you're calling the game, especially, you are literally sitting lower than them on that below that raised floor. It's a fun environment. And it's the U of M, it's the barn, it's just everything about it just feels so intimate, and it gets loud. That 1A game between Cherry and Dawson Boyd got loud. The 3A game between Alexandria Area and Mankato East, loud. And all throughout the day, I mean, you could see as the day was going on, Corey, the upper deck was starting to fill in with people. This is nothing against the Target Center, but everything about Williams Arena just feels perfect for Championship Saturday.
I agree with you, just like in principle. I just agree with you. That being said, just to make the counterpoint, because it's worth mentioning, the 3A title, especially the 4A title games at the Target Center, there's not sometimes enough room at Williams Arena. No. I've been at the Target Center where we had to sit in the upper. We had to go to the upper section because JP Makura was playing for Lakeville North, or Tyus Jones or Trey Jones was playing for Apple Valley, or Daniel Laturu was playing for Cretan Durham Hall. Like we're talking about some bona fide names in the state of Minnesota in high school sports. And those 4A title games pushed people into the upper level of the Target Center. And so I'm fine actually with probably those 3A and even 4A. Well, certainly the 4A and probably 3A games in the Target Center. 1A and 2 I would love to see in Williams Arena, because I even though Henning shows out, when I think about their championship 6 years ago, like how big of a town is Henning, right? They're filling up 2 whole sections of the lower bowl, and that's it. Right. Everybody in the town shows up. If everybody in the town and everybody they're related to shows up, that is like a quarter of the lower bowl of the Target Center. Where if you put that in Williams Arena, you're talking about 1/2 of the is all you, and then everybody fills in above it. If everything was, I've been, by the way, in Williams Arena for some big time 4A big school championships, and it's insane. So yes, I agree with you 150%. Do you know a fun thing about the 3A title game?
No, tell me.
It was the first public school championship in Class 3A since 2018.
No way, really?
the first public school title since 2018 in Class 3A. You're talking about a class the last couple of years that was dominated by Totino Grace, right? They were 2-year defending champions before Alexandria knocked them off. You're talking about De La Salle, who just has been an utter juggernaut in that class since the dawn of time. Like whenever the Neanderthals and Homo sapiens split on the genetic, like that's how long De La Salle was dominating Class 3A. It's only the 5th time since 2005 that a public school has won that 3A title. So no matter what happened on Saturday, it was going to be a public school, which was pretty exciting. And then the fact that it got to be Alexandria was even cooler. Was there something beyond just watching Alexandria win a title? And you mentioned your family member, your family members for Henning, which brings me back to my original point. One of the things that I love about small high school basketball and covering high school sports is the family aspect of it and the small town. That's where I'm most comfortable. So it's cool that you were able to like not only professionally be a part of that, but then personally get to experience that call as well. Was there something else? Like, is there a highlight from the tournament besides Alexandria winning it, besides getting to work with and root for family in the Class 8 tournament? Did you see something? Did something stupid happen? Did something, I don't know. Was there a sick dunk? Was there I don't know. Anything?
I mean, the Kale buzzer beater at halftime in the consolation championship was really fun to call. That was a really fun moment. In the Alexandria game, there was a point where a member from Mankato East was going to the cup, knew they weren't going to get a shot up that they wanted, so they literally threw it up on the top level of the backboard and did the mic and drill with themselves and then went on the other end and put it in.
I listened to that. I remember you saying that. Yeah.
Yeah. Not many times you get to reference the mic and drill in a broadcast. So when you can, you have to do it. Also, I got to put in Fuego in my lexicon for a game.
That was pretty funny.
Which is anytime you get to do that is just perfect. So it's like Michael Grady doing the goosebumps every time during a good Julius Randle assist. When you have the opportunity in front of you, you just have to do it. So those were a couple of really fun moments. There's too many to count over the weekend, but those are a couple of really good ones that stand out. One more thing to kind of recap the tournament coverage too. Nevis got 4th place, of course, in the tournament. They beat Henning, had a really, really fun game against Cherry that they just couldn't quite get on top of. That's a fun rivalry between the Tigers and the Tigers. Cherry and Nevis met last year in the semifinals. I believe 1 year in this 5-year run, they met in the quarterfinal round. These two teams have seen a lot of each other at this level, and it's just been really fun seeing that develop. Nevis then unfortunately lost to Red Lake County in the 3rd place game. They finish in 4th. And another thing, by the way, bracket seeding 1 through 8 in the tournament, the high school league did a really good job. I know it's easy to hate on them, but they did a really good job seeding the brackets this year. Almost every matchup was a 1-2, or in Alexandria's case, it was a 1-3. And not that the 1 seed won every tournament, but they said, hey, these are the 2 best teams in each of the classes, and typically they got there. So it was really cool to see. Like Henning was the 5th seed in Class A. They finished 5th. Nevis was the 4th seed in Class A. They finished 4th. And I get it. I know upsets are fun and they're all great, but in terms of like trying to set the bracket and set the 1 through 8, I think for the most part, I think the high school league did a really good job in that aspect.
And there's 2 points to that. One is I do really believe that there's a little extra fuel to the fire sometimes if you're like, we got the 6th seed. Are you serious? Like it's bulletin board material. And I think that's really important and a good motivator. I have found what you said to be generally correct, that no matter what, even when it was random seedings and things like that, generally speaking, how things were seeded is how things kind of work themselves out, with one obviously glaring exception that also happened this year. And that was in the state girls basketball tournament.
That's also fair.
4 seed versus the 7 seed for the Class A title game. West Central area beat McRae a 4 over a 7. Did they absolutely 100% get it right for the boys tournament this year? Yeah, it certainly seems like it. And do they in general? Yeah, it certainly seems like it. But they don't always get it right. And that's why it's fun. I like the bulletin board material that comes from this. And here's what I think is important too, just as a quick aside. McRae, if you look at that girls basketball tournament, got the 7th seed. Well, a year ago, it would have been a random draw, which means they could have gotten the 8th seed, which means they would have had to play the 1 seed overall first. Or they could have been the 5 seed, which would have put them on the same side as the 1 seed, right? You win your 4-5 matchup, and then you play the 1. Like, the tournament worked out and got the fireworks it did because they decided to seed 1 through 8. It doesn't maybe necessarily work out that way. You miss some of the fireworks, some of the incentive of being like, you think I'm the 7th? We are not the 7th best team.
Right.
Watch us. So I do like. I mean, it's the March Madness thing all over again, right? That's
right.
what this is fun.
Exactly.
I like the seeding.
One last thing to wrap up our tournament coverage here, and put the official bow on the winter sports season. They did announce the all tournament teams. So for Class A, Kale Misegatis of Henning, AJ Bessler of Nevis, both landed on those squads. In Class 2A, Elliot Burnett, Sam Hondel, Zeke Austin, all of Albany were able to crack that one. Being state champions certainly helps with that. In the Class 3A bracket, speaking of state champions, 3 members of the Alexandria area squad made it. Mason and Talon Witt, along with Chase Thompson, made the 3A all-tournament team. And then Rain Battle of Moorhead made the Class 4A all-tournament team. So congratulations to them. And, of course, it was just a really, really fun winter sports season that is now in the books. Corey, we've talked about all of these games a lot here, but now let's switch gears and let's talk about one more thing from the fall sports season that we need to talk about. And it's a pretty breaking news over the course of the last week that we finally have a chance to sit down and really kind of give it the talk it deserves. But Sue Volkmann, head volleyball coach at Wadena Deer Creek, announced her retirement last week. It was reported in the Wadena Pioneer Journal and put out on the Wadena Deer Creek Public School Facebook page that Sue Volkmann has decided to call it a career, one that spans 600 plus wins, a bunch of section titles, a state title in 2010, and of course the Hollywood story that season entailed, going all the way back to Coach Volkmann's coaching days. I remember when she got her 500th win, I believe, maybe it was the 600, doesn't matter. When she kind of got one of those win milestones, I remember talking with her about it and kind of going all the way back to the beginning. And her beginning didn't start at Wadena Deer Creek. Her beginning started at Henning Deer Creek, coaching the Cavaliers. And going back to this day, I know people from the Henning community that remember Sue Volkmann being their volleyball coach, which to that spanning all the way through the Wadena Deer Creek times. Wadena Deer Creek volleyball has literally never had a head coach other than Sue Volkmann, which is crazy to think about now for how long that's been going on. 650 plus wins or whatever the heck it is, and the 2010 state title. Just what a career for Coach Volkmann to wrap up at Wadena Deer Creek. Just from getting to cover her over the last few years and her teams has been really, really fun. I've really enjoyed talking with Sue and just getting to kind of pick her brain from a volleyball perspective and some of the stuff she has. She doesn't mince words when you talk to her, which is really fun because she's going to tell you how she's feeling. And overall, just a congrats to a great career.
Yeah, I'd be interested to know what the exact number is. It's right around that 650 mark. I think it was it 3 full seasons ago she got to that 600 mark, which means she was probably 2 seasons away from reaching another milestone in 700, especially, giving credit to what that program is and how many games they win all the time. I love Sue. I always had just unbelievable conversations with her, not only on the air, but kind of off the air. And like you said, it was refreshing to hear her talk about her team. And in a way that was like, not so much the mince words part, but like, I'm an idiot. And it made it really easy for me to understand where they were at all times. Like I didn't have to try to guess where, like, what's the quality of play? Are they good enough right now? Because a state tournament was an expectation and is an expectation, right? For Wolverines volleyball and for her. And it was just very clear, like, we're not there yet, or we're not there yet. We can be if these things happen. And I always appreciate that sort of honesty from coaches. I don't like having to try to guess. It's nice to be told, and then with your own eyes, be able to put some of those pieces together. Awesome to work with. I did get to cover a state tournament myself with Wadena Deer Creek when they were down, whatever year it was now. I can't remember. Forgive me. But always great to work with, and had some unbelievable teams, and congratulations on a wonderful career. May I say, let's get her in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
I don't know what we're doing here. I don't know what the total win totals are. I don't know who has the most wins ever. My assumption it's that maybe the guy from like Bethlehem Academy, probably that lady at Mayor Lutheran is way up there. We've got some coaches from around the area who are including Janelle Bright from Bertha Hewitt and Diane Ross from Underwood, who've all gone in very recently. Heidi Hahn from Brainerd went in back in 2012. What are we waiting for here? I don't understand this. Like, can we get Sue Volkmann in the Hall of Fame? How many? There's probably less than 10 people all time who have more wins than her.
Yeah.
Can we get Sue in the Hall of Fame, please?
Corey is starting the campaign, and I would say it's a one-person campaign, but the moment you start it, there will be a bunch of people jumping in on your bandwagon.
It's ridiculous. It's not like this is Bert Blyleven, where his numbers are kind of on the edge, and he should probably be in. He probably should. But I understand the arguments of why he isn't. That's not what this is. I don't know what multiple state tournament appearances and a state championship and 650 whatever career wins. I don't know what else you need to do. Put her in.
There's literally nothing else you need to do. You need to. Do we need to file the paperwork? Corey will do it himself. He'll take care of it.
Let's make this happen here, please.
Let's make it happen. Congratulations to Coach Volkmann on a career, and congratulations to the Wadena Deer Creek volleyball program and all that success. And we'll see how things shake out. There's still going to be the program that Coach Volkmann is leaving behind. They're still going to be pretty darn competitive next year, which will be fun to watch. No matter who takes over as head coach, they have not announced a replacement at this time. They're in the process of hiring the new head coach. So congratulations to everybody involved. All right.
Won't be coveted.
Yeah, exactly. Wrapping things up for our local sports coverage means we need to talk about the good folks at the Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade. Corey, what do we want to talk about today with the Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena?
Taken straight from their Facebook page. Triple the fun when you triple your visits to the FunZone Arcade. Feels like it needs a fanfare. The Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade, calling all FunZone Rewards members, earn 1,000 free FunZone tickets when you play, buy, or reload 3 times by the end of April 30th, which means you have just a little over a month to get this done. How do you qualify? What counts? You play. You buy a new FunZone card. You reload the FunZone card that you currently have. If you're not a FunZone Rewards member, check out the Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade's Facebook page and scan that QR code, and you are off and running. If you're watching the Morning Sports Desk on YouTube, which you should be, search Hubbard Radio-Wadena, you can scan it right now. We're looking at it. We're looking at that QR code. Let's see. Right. Yeah, right. Look at it. Am I pointing in the right spot? Right there.
Kind of, yeah.
Right down there. Do it. And earn. Be a FunZone Rewards member. Be a Ranch Rewards member with the Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in beautiful downtown Wadena. Nothing could be keener than living in Wadena. You ever heard that before?
No, I have not. So thank you for introducing that to me. That's either like a 75-year-old marketing campaign or it's something Corey thought of on the spot, and I can't tell which one is which.
No, add that to the list of, in the first week I moved here, someone said it. I was like, that's awesome.
Here we go. All right, Corey, speaking of here,
Jubilee t-shirt.
We need to get that going. We'll start the campaign.
Listen, if Nimrod can wear population 69 t-shirts, Wadena can put nothing could be keener than living in Wadena on a t-shirt. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think that's totally in play. All right, here we go. taking a look, speaking of things that are pretty relevant recently, here we go.
Yes, indeed. The 2025 Basketball Mayhem Challenge is officially through its first weekend. Its first 2 rounds. Shout out to Wadena VFW, by the way, for being a part of this. CJ, we no longer have a perfect bracket, so the $1 million is out of the picture.
Darn it.
The $250 grand prize from the Wadena VFW is still up for grabs. And we've got a 3-way tie atop the leaderboard between Paul Mattoon, Mike Lake, and Kyle Brock, with 53 points to lead the way. Our very own Kyle Gilsine is in second with 52. And then it is a 5-way tie for third. Brian, Ivan, Jolene, Lisa, and Ron with 51 points. Billy rounds out the top 10 with 50. I am back. I'm back a ways. I have 46 through the first 2 rounds of the tournament. I lost St. John's. That was a big one for me. Where do you stand in the Basketball Mayhem and your bracket challenge?
Not good. I don't see my name on the leaderboard, which is not great.
Have you logged in? You gotta log in to see what your point total is.
I know. It's
all right. It's fine. We don't need to know right now. We can just know that it's not very good and
it's
that we
15. Let's put it that way. I got 38 points in my final 4. One of my final 4 teams got eliminated. So.
Which was the final 4 team that you lost?
Remember last week when I said I can't believe I have Illinois going to my final 4.
Oh yeah, that was quick. Wasn't it?
I should have known something was wrong when they lost to Kentucky. I had the Colorado State upset, and I was so close. By the way, that guy from Maryland traveled. He took 3 full steps before he shot the ball.
Yeah, so it goes.
But a ref is never going to call it in that situation.
Why not? They should.
They're never gonna.
He did. They should.
They should have. They didn't. Whatever. It's better for the University of Minnesota. We'll get to that in a second.
If anything, the rules should apply more when it matters most. Otherwise, what are they rules for?
You'd think.
Anyway, what do I know?
You'd think. Anyway, that non-call saved the University of Minnesota about $300,000. So we'll get to that in a second.
We'll get to that.
But yeah, my bracket is not good. I don't know what it is about this bracket I picked. I still have 3 of my final 4 teams in there, so I can still rebound pretty well. I just did not do a good job picking upsets, apparently.
Yeah, I lost St. John's. I have Auburn, Alabama, and Tennessee in the who are still kicking, I do believe, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, they are. So anyway, the Illinois thing was a bugger for you, that's for sure.
Yeah, that doesn't help. I also had St. John's getting to the Elite 8, so that's a big oof for me.
Where's the Elite 8? Is Auburn? Is Michigan State still in it?
Michigan State is.
Duke and Alabama are still in it?
Yes.
How about Florida?
Florida is still in it. They got a scare from UConn, but they won.
How about Houston and Tennessee?
They are still in.
So I've got 7 of 8 and 3 of 4 and 2 of 2. Elite 8 Final 4 championship. Okay. All right. Look out. You losers better watch out. Objects in your mirror closer than they appear.
I did predict the BYU Wisconsin upset, so I will take credit for that, and that I never give Wisconsin credit for anything.
Hate them
Every single day. The more I read about them, the less I like them. Go check out your scores. You can still play if you want. It's going to be a long shot at this point, but go to WDenaRadio.com, Superstation K106 mobile app, Bracket Mayhem 2025, brought to you by the good folks at the Wadena VFW. Okay, Corey, we have a Twins special coming later this week that we are going to dive into with opening day. It is happening opening day week. There will be Major League Baseball regular season games played starting Thursday. Well, technically last week with the Japan series, but Major League Baseball, 1, does a really bad job marketing that series, and 2, putting America's national pastime in Japan to begin the year at 5 a.m. Good job, guys. Good job all around. Anyway, Twins are going to start on Thursday. Pablo Lopez versus Sonny Gray. Should be a really fun opening day from Busch Stadium. However, we'll break this all down fully, but in case you want more optimism for the Twins, Corey, heading into the season, Not only will Royce Lewis start the year on the injured list, so will Brooks Lee with back spasms. So that's great. Beef Stew, Brock Stewart will start the year on the injured list. Michael Tonkin will start the year on the injured list. And just take your pick down line. Mickey Gasper will make the opening day roster, but not for a lack of trying. He was the guy who, remember him yesterday? He got cleated by his own teammate trying to catch a fly ball in the infield, which required 7 stitches. And Rocco said it's the worst cleating he's ever seen. Not ideal. Somehow he's going to make the opening day roster. But that's becoming finalized. We'll talk about that more as the week gets on because we have a bunch to talk about kind of to wrap up the show. But yeah, not ideal for the Twins to start the year. But hey, Paul Bunyan Communications in Bemidji and one media group in North Dakota will have Twins games broadcasted on television to start the year. So there you go. Aren't you excited for Twins baseball, Corey?
We're gonna win, Twins. We're gonna score. Maybe.
Maybe if we feel like it. Are the bases loaded with nobody out? Never mind.
We will talk about this in the preview a little more. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I'll say it in the preview. I'm as pessimistic about this Twins team as I have ever been about any Twins team. And that's all I will say.
We're gonna win, Twins. Forget it. All right, let's talk about something that's got some momentum, and that's the Golden Gopher men's basketball team. Yeah, I know, right? They've spent the whole season and really the last 10 years just being weird, at least. I don't know. Post Patino, they've really struggled. They've just struggled to be relevant at all. Late stage Patino, they struggled to be competitive. They have not made the NCAA tournament since the 2019 tournament. So that's what, now 20? They wish they didn't play. So I guess you get a pass for that one. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. 5 straight tournaments that the Gophers have not even sniffed the NCAA tournament. They have 1 NIT appearance in that span. Ben Johnson, get out of here. He was canned. And now Colorado State head coach Nico Medved, a Roseville graduate, and who is a graduate assistant or a student manager on the Golden Gopher staff when he was in college, is now coming home to be the school's next head coach. They lost yesterday to Maryland, so now it could become official. There was a jet flying out this morning. Somebody was tracking all that, and it has become official. ESPN is reporting it, that Nico Medved is going to be the next head coach of Gopher men's basketball. He is a Minnesota native. He is a Minnesota alum. He did a lot of good in-state recruiting in Minnesota as the head coach of Colorado State. Oh, and by the way, his teams repeatedly at Colorado State not only have won the Mountain West, but have made the NCAA tournament, and like this year, won a game and were a travel call away from making the Sweet 16.
Yeah, and maybe most importantly in all of this, you talked about the recruiting. He's got 6 players on that Colorado State team who are Minnesotans.
Right.
And, you go back again. I do I need to disclaimer this right out of the gate?
Sure.
We have been very clear on what we think about Ben Johnson and how it just was not fitting and it wasn't working, whatever. I'm not here to just completely push Ben Johnson in front of this moving train. That's not what this is. Because if I could push the entire infrastructure of what it is around the University of Minnesota athletics in front of the train, I would rather do that. This does not fall squarely on the shoulders of Ben Johnson. But one of the reasons Ben Johnson was hired is because of what he was supposed to be able to do recruiting, and maybe that coaching would come along. Meanwhile, at Colorado State, there are 6 Minnesotans on the Colorado State roster. And how many Minnesotans are on the U of M roster? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like you don't have to get everybody, but you got to get a lot of them. And somebody else was bringing all of your guys to their school, which means they want to go to a place where they're wanted.
Right. Nobody's ripping you when a player goes to choose Gonzaga or Duke. Because at the end of the day, back in the day when Coach K came calling to the Jones brothers, it's just really hard to get them. Like, fine, you lose. But when Jalen Suggs is kind of in range and you have coaches sleeping on his couch at his house.
Yeah.
what are you doing? You're taking the L already. You're not even going to try. Like what? Anyway, Nico Medved, I'm not going to say that guy's going to turn the program around and they're going to be a powerhouse and blah, blah, blah. But this guy, like we talked about, Ben Johnson was hired to do the in-state recruiting and the coaching would come along, like you said. But now here's Nico Medved, a guy who already proves he could get guys from Minnesota to go play at not Colorado, which played in the Pac-12 and now the Big 12, but to play in the Mountain West. He got them to go not to live in Boulder, not to live in Denver, to live in Fort Collins. He got Minnesotans to go do that and won. So he could recruit in-state and win and get to the NCAA tournament consistently.
He's a bona fide recruiter and coach now.
Right. Exactly. Now put him in with this year's team. We'll see. The transfer portal opens today. So it was big that he's hired now, and recruits and portal entries know that the Gophers have a head coach. So it'll be interesting to see how the transfer portal moves for men's basketball. But I mean, really, there's things to nitpick about the hire, but Gophers fans have been expecting this for a while. He's kind of been the number one guy on a bullet people wanted since Ben Johnson was fired, and they got their guy. I was a little surprised that it all happened in less than 12 hours. Yeah, but also knowing the state of college sports, we shouldn't be surprised at all.
Right. It had to happen that quickly. There is going to be a press conference already today.
Oh, today? I thought somebody said tomorrow.
Oh, wait, what day is it today?
Monday.
Tomorrow will be the press conference. So
that was a quick turnaround.
That would have been that. Tuesday's already a quick turnaround. Today would have been even dumber. No, I don't. As somebody, as one of my best friends put it, it's a really good hire by a really bad program.
Yeah.
So he's going to have to overcome a lot of things. Now, did the University of Minnesota, this is going to sound sacrilegious to say this, did they screw up by hiring Lindsey Whalen? And did they screw up by hiring Ben Johnson? I think all evidence points to yes. That was just not a thing.
They did not work out. Yeah.
They did not work out. Does it seem like Coach P and that Gopher women's program is moving the way it's supposed to move? Does it seem that way? It certainly does. Is this the move? Is this an equivalent move for the men's program? Coach Medved and who Coach Plitzawhite was for does it seem similar to that? From the outside looking in, it kind of does, doesn't it?
From that perspective, yes. And obviously Lindsey is Lindsey and just the celebrity status of the hire. But yes, on its face, like you got to hire, you thought like, hey, Minnesota native, like they're going to build the program from within. They're going to dominate in-state recruiting. And to a point, both of them recruited in-state and they were able to get some players. But at the end of the day, it just proved that the coaching ability and able to keep a roster together for different reasons. But like Ben Johnson couldn't keep his players either. And maybe that's a University of Minnesota thing more broadly, which, you could give Ben Johnson credit. The university didn't do him any favors in terms of NIL and keeping players. And because last year was a bubble team and they had all their players go everywhere and they kind of had to pick up the pieces this year. But Ben Johnson and Lindsey Whalen couldn't keep teams together with talent that they were able to get. And due to their coaching limitations as well. And now, Coach P was a bona fide coach. She got Vermilion, South Dakota to be a women's basketball hub in the Summit. And then she had 1 year at West Virginia and she's like, I'd rather go live in Minnesota. And she did that. And the program had injuries this year, but this team made the NIT and you could have made the case that they should have been in the NCAA tournament without some of their better players throughout the season. So the hope is that Medved's going to get in here. There is some talent on the roster, albeit brief. You're going to have to renew with Dawson Garcia graduating.
There's some talent on the roster. That was nice of you to say.
There is pieces. You're going to need to build more, but there is like a start.
Yes.
You're not having to completely start from scratch.
From almost scratch. You have the ingredients on the counter.
Yeah. You have the ingredients on the counter that didn't get spilled on the floor.
They're not spoiled.
Yeah. Somebody left them out overnight, but they didn't spoil somehow.
Whalen and Johnson were placeholders.
They took gambles. They didn't work out.
Coach P is a real bona fide coach, and that program's doing something. Coach Medved is hopefully one of those guys. who now can do what Plitzowite is doing with the women's program. Get them going in the right direction. Like, if the Gopher women weren't decimated by basically losing their best player for 2 years in a row, this is an NCAA tournament team. They won a lot of games again this year without their best player on the roster. Like, they're in a good spot. And I just want that men's program to be in a good spot. They're in an awful, they were, as of doing that 2 hours ago, in an awful spot. They're no longer in an awful spot anymore. They're in a not good spot, but it's better than it was.
Exactly. Corey, anything else before we get out of here? I think that's it. Wolves play the Pacers tonight. Don't lose.
Gophers make the NCAA tournament next year. Your 13 seed Minnesota Golden Gopher men's basketball team. Oh, wait, no, this is a better question. Who has the higher seed in the NCAA tournament next year? The women or the men?
I'm going to go the women. They're a year ahead. I'm going to go
6, like how high? So we're talking like a 13 seed, 14 seed for the Gopher men, and maybe like a 9 seed for the women.
Yeah, I think that's respectable.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
That'd be great. Hasn't been done since like I was in the 5th grade. So if we could do that, that'd be great.
Yeah, go let the Pac-12 champion kick your ass in the opening round next year. I would be thrilled for that to happen for that Gopher team.
Yeah, get in there, just do it. At least they made it.
Be a 9 seed and win your opening round game, and then
blown out by UConn.
You lose to South Carolina. Who cares?
Everybody loses to South Carolina. It's fine.
Give them a run for their money. Like, make it interesting. Make them have to play a second half of basketball against you. That'd be awesome.
That'd be great.
Do you hear how low our expectations are? Minnesota, the University of Minnesota. Do you hear this?
Be better than St. Thomas. How about that?
It's not that hard.
Yeah.
I'm not asking a lot from you.
No. All right. I think that's it. Morning Sports Desk, powered by Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade. See you.
Powered by Wadena's Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade. Follow the Morning Sports Desk on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And watch every show on YouTube.